Oliver Straw. Questions for Oliver? Greg?
Ollie, you've been here a complete year plus now. So the difference is, what have you worked on this spring since you have a year of experience under your belt?
Just being more comfortable with the guys that I'm out there with. Really trying to build good relationships with them. Being fluent as possible with my long snapper Austin Brinkman. Knowing where my coverage unit's going to be, and just making sure that I do my best at putting the ball where it needs to be, to put those guys in a position to make a play down the field. So that's been an emphasis throughout the spring ball, just making sure that I know the guys on the unit and making sure that I put the ball where it needs to be so that they can make a play.
Are there different things that you can do now that maybe you didn't show last year? More roll, punt, more, different aspects of it? Yeah.
Obviously last year I was mostly rolling out. I've worked the spiral a bit more this spring than I did last spring. Obviously using both feet, left and right, and just situational things that last year we may not have had the chance to do. Kicking the ball from the right side of the field to the left, or vice versa. So just really expanding and making sure I can show off what I can do with my leg and benefit the team as well as I can.
Was that emphasized more when you got here, distance or putting it where you were supposed to?
It's a combination of both, honestly. The three main aspects that we focus on is hang time, so how long the ball's in the air, distance down the field, and then location. Because if you put the ball where it needs to be on the side of the field, it gives the returner a smaller window to work in. So just really making sure that you can put that ball where it needs to be so that they don't have the explosive ability that they can return the ball. So
rank those when you got here to where you are now in terms of your being able to do those things.
Yeah, definitely a lot better. Obviously, last spring ball being the first practice that I ever had playing football, compared to now, obviously playing a full season. Just the confidence that I have to just go out there and know where the ball needs to be and know where I need to be on the field as well. It's just completely different now having a year under my belt.
You mentioned using both feet. I don't think you did that at all last season. That's unique, maybe, at least in the United States. Is it in Australia? Can you do it equally as well with both?
Obviously, there's a little bit of a disparity between my left and my right because it is my non-dominant. But playing Australian football, when you grow up, you're taught to kick left and right foot. So there's a few Australians that can do it, but pulling that out in the game is something that I'm going to have to put a lot of work in to do, because obviously there's a lot of trust that goes into that and making sure that my left foot is going to produce what I can produce. So just making sure that when we do it, it's going to work out and we can get a good result out of it.
The allure of that is if you kick left-footed, they always say it's harder to catch a left-footed ball in the air for whatever reason.
Yeah, so I'm good friends with Preston Fox, obviously the main punt returner, and I always ask him questions and pick his brain about what he finds hard and what other returners might find difficult. So, just working with him and really figuring out what is hard to catch and how I can make it as hard as possible for them. So, the left foot is definitely something that could make their job harder.
Is that a conversation you have to have with Austin before the kick happens?
It'll probably be a design play. We've obviously got our calls to go left and right, but it'll probably be communicated to us before we go out in the field. But if there is a look that we get and we look over to the sideline and we see something and they decide to go left foot, they'll communicate that some way, and we'll probably have a call for it, and I'll make sure that he knows where to snap the ball to.
The good thing about that is if the protection breaks down and you're in a hurry, you may have to kick it left-footed.
Yeah, exactly. And we practice that as well. If the ball goes over your left shoulder, your right shoulder, you've got to do different things. So just being able to rely on that foot if I need to is something that I'm comfortable with. If anything ever does go wrong, but it's handy.
Same number of steps for both legs to kick it, or would you need more steps for your left foot?
I try and practice the same each side. Obviously, it doesn't work out perfectly every time, but try and replicate it as well as I can.
Mechanically, what are the biggest differences for you for kicking a spiral versus kicking, one that you're trying to kill versus an end over ball. And is that a big difference, a big adjustment for you?
I wouldn't say it's adjustment for me, but they are very different balls. Obviously, Americans, more traditional spiral, and the ball drop is just completely different when it comes to that. So teaching an American an end over end it's a tougher thing to do because they just haven't grown up doing it, and it's something that I've just naturally been able to develop throughout my years. So it's a big difference, and something that I need to be able to differentiate instead of blending together, because they're not the same kick, and sometimes I can get blended too much and it doesn't work out. But yeah.
We've heard coaches speak highly of Austin. From your perspective, what does he do so well as a long snapper? The praise is definitely deserved. He's probably one of the best, if not the best snapper in the country, and sometimes he doesn't believe that of himself, but he's just consistent beyond any means. So he knows exactly where the ball needs to be. He can put it on a little penny if he needs to, and he's really special as a player, and we have a good relationship, and we know how each other works, and we push each other to be better every single day. So he's a special talent for sure.
Where does he put it?
He can put it anywhere. Depending on if I'm rolling out and we're calling a rollout, he'll put it on my right hip, and it'll lead me on, and I can run straight away. If it's a left, he'll do the same thing on the left side. If it's straight on, he'll do it perfectly on my hip. So he can do anything, and same with field goal snapping as well.
How important is the relationship with you guys, and how did you go about kind of forming that when you got here last year?
It's actually, it is really important, and I probably underestimated that when I first got here. But it just happened naturally. Honestly, we get along really well. He's a really hard worker, and he pushed me along to be as good as I can, and I always try and do the same with him. We both are hardest critics, so we both get down, and the other one picks each other up. So it's just a relationship where we build off each other and push each other to be the best we can be.
I think it's tough for Con fan to kind of notice his success, since it's not really measured by any statistic. He really only is going to stand out if he's messing up.
Yeah, most definitely, and that's the hardest part about his position, is that it's not a glamorous position, similar to any specialist role really. But yeah, his job is just to get the ball back, and he does that perfectly every time. And he's to people that know about long snapping and snapping in general, it's pretty special what he can do. So he definitely deserves the recognition, because I wouldn't be able to do without him. So.
Have you been using the TrackMan stuff this spring?
Yeah, we do use the TrackMan as much as possible. So obviously we're very limited in what we do in practice. We have a couple of team periods, and we get our reps in, but then the real work starts with the TrackMan, and then individual work that we do. So making sure that we can see the feedback that we get from it, and why the result happened, and what we can do to correct it. So. Yeah.
So if you do a kick, what do you then turn to the TrackMan, and what are you looking at and trying to see? There's
a multitude of things, honestly. There's ball speed, there's launch angle, there's apex of where it reached in the air. There's a bunch of things, and honestly, one of the handiest things about it is that you can see yourself on the video as well. So being able to slow it down, watch exactly where you hit the ball, and then compare it with the stats as well is it's helpful. So yeah, just being able to do that kind of thing.
Is there a range in those numbers of where if you get a certain ball speed, a certain launch angle every single time, it's going to be a better punt than others? Yeah,
you can definitely draw comparisons between which goes well and which ones don't. So seeing the launch angle, seeing how quick the ball is going, there's a direct correlation sometimes between exactly what number we get and what the result is. So when we see it come up, we identify it, realize that either the ball needs to be higher, lower, we're swinging our leg too fast, too slow. So there's direct comparisons that we can make from that.
What's a good number for a launch angle?
You'd want to be aiming on a spiral for 45, 50, just so your leg can come up through the ball and not out through the ball, because otherwise it's just going to go really low. As I said, the end over end and the spirals are completely different, and I hit my end over ends really close to the ground, and it's something that the coaches have had to kind of realize is different in terms of spirals. It's not going to be the same, but yeah, you want to be looking for a 45, 50 launch angle when you're kicking spirals to get hang time and distance.
Have you created any kind of relationship with Pat McAfee?
I haven't yet, actually. I did reach out to him before the Pitt game last year, but obviously, I mean, he's getting millions of DMs every day, so I would love to meet up with Pat at some point soon, because I've obviously learned a whole lot about him since being here, and I knew about him before I got here too. But yeah, he's a legend for Mountaineers.
Might even enjoy a beer with him.
Yeah, maybe when I turn 21.
What was that game like for you? Your first football game, full house, nerves? What did you feel for that one?
Honestly, running out there, it was just adrenaline. And then when the game started and they called on me, I think it was the first set that we had down the field to go out, I just blacked out, honestly, because it's something that you don't really know what to expect with. And when you go out there, you just do your job, and you don't really think about it, because obviously the millions of reps that you put in before that are for that 1, 2, 3 reps that you get in the game. So it's just a thing that you have to take in while you're on the sideline, and then when you're on the field, you do your job and do it well.
So many of your really good punts last year were end-over-end punts that didn't travel a lot of distance in the air or even down the field, but you were able to place them in spots where they bounced away from returners, things like that. Are those always called, or do you have an option if, hey, you see a gap and you say, hey, with this protection, I think I can kick it there? Do you have some freedom in that area?
Yeah, I mean, as I got more confident last year and started understanding when teams were going to rush, when they were going to hold up, I felt myself able to, slow down a bit more, take my time, which you might have seen a couple of times against like Oklahoma at the Oklahoma State game. I just slowed down, waited a couple of seconds, and then got the ball off instead of just rushing. So, I mean, it's just really depends, honestly, what we see coming, because yes, I can pick it up, but if it's not going to get us the result that we want, then maybe not. But yeah, I have the ability to choose where I can put the ball, but as long as I do what the coaches tell me and put the ball where they want it and we cover it, then I don't see any issues with the job. So yeah.
You punted it all in a college game before Pitt, right?
Yeah, correct.
What's it like going out there, knowing that 60,000 people and 3 million people watching?
Yeah, it was pretty scary, honestly, but I thought about all the work that I'd put in before I'd gotten to that point, and just how far I'd come, and it just kind of became normal after the first punt. Like it felt natural. So I think my parents were honestly more nervous than I was. They were up in the stands, so yeah, they were a bit nervous for me. But no, it's something you get used to, and it's a feeling you can't really describe.
How do you keep from thinking, please don't drop this, or please yell on your snap?
Yeah, I mean, obviously those thoughts are going through your head, but you've just got to learn to block them out, honestly, because the more you think about it, the more you worry about it, the worse you perform. So that's something that I've had to deal with. I had a couple instances this spring where I just mentally wasn't where I needed to be, and then work through that, and then get back to, this is just kicking a ball like you've done millions of times before. So, it's just something you have to overcome.
Can you fake one in the future?
I mean, I would love to, but obviously there's a time and a place on the field. So, I hope we put it in at some point for me to throw a ball or run it. But we'll see. We'll see what the future holds for that one.
Have you watched
You get
Josh
tackled.
Grouden's
Yeah, that's right.
video of his fake from a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I've seen Josh's old his film. I pulled it up. I actually studied a bit of it this spring. So yeah, no. Hopefully we'll pull out a fake. I've been sending my Coach Coons, a couple of fakes. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah.
Okay, anything else for Oliver? All right, thank you very much.